What's going on, guys? It's mithrilblue with
Serial Fuente.
and this is a commentary on our new project, YORU, that is out right now, streaming everywhere. You guys can go check that out. And also track with us. We're gonna be going through each track, different inspirations, maybe some lyrical clarity, commentary, things like that. And here we go, okay.
What up?
So the people wanna know. We're here for one thing and one thing only.
One thing only.
What the heck is YORU?
Yoru, man. Well, to start, it means night
It means night
in Japanese.
in Japanese.
And that Japanese comes from a deep love of J-pop that we
Yes.
both share.
Whoa.
Whoa, Mo.
J-pop and anime.
J-pop and
We got
anime.
J-pop and anime on our side.
And God, of course.
And Moboy.
And Moboy.
I feel like when we made this, when we started working on like these songs, like the goal was never to make, really like, we didn't like set up like, hey, let's make an EP
Yeah.
that sounds like this, or that is about this like story. But it ended up being just like, we made one song and then we made another one. And then all of a sudden we realized, hey, there's a bit of a story here. We wrote Heat before we even had any sort of like conception of a narrative for the project. Do you like remember any like defining moments that we were like, yeah, this is what we want the song to be?
When we started writing Heat, it like totally like created this character, which was cool because that's the first track. So
Right.
kind of setting the story off with this guy and kind of how the story starts, which is in the first track, this guy like sees this girl and he's kind of like facing those feelings, those
Get the
butterflies,
feels,
those
right.
nerves, yeah.
I don't even know how the conversation started, but we were playing these chords and I was like, dude, let's just literally make a J-pop song.
Yeah.
And so we decided to just make some like super dancey, like very 90s, just like drum machine, like just glossy drum machine sounds. And then Heat just kind of became this like, even as we were writing it, it just kind of became, okay, we want to make this like super fun club vibe. There's some artists we listen to like Lamp and Kyojin. Like we were like, hey, let's just like do something like this because we love this kind of music. It kind of works with the vibe of the chorus, the guitar, of all these different things. And I remember asking you like, hey, like what's the setting for this? Like, what is this about? And you're like, beach party.
The whole story kind of continued based on this guy at this party. And the second track, geez man, what even is the second track?
The second track's Misty.
Misty, yeah, Misty, yeah. Misty with our buddy Jacob.
In terms of like what we were making, you know, all together, like Heat was first, then there came Misty. And so Misty was, you know, shout out to Jacob, to Jalowo, for the feature on the track. He actually, he did do some sounds on there, but like he is actually, we have a different Jacob on the drums.
On this track, I just remember jamming out with Jacob. That was super cool. That was probably my most fun I wrote. I had time writing on this project because that song was literally like it was in like a bedroom style recording and we're all just jamming out.
Yeah,
we're
right,
all just
yeah.
like drumming, I'm on guitar, Willie's singing, I think he was also on bass, and then we were just kind of just vibing out to this.
No, you're on bass.
I was on bass?
Yeah.
I can't keep track
You
of
hit the
that.
bass on that one. Had this track sitting there for a while and it had a good mood, it was a good vibe. And I remember then sending it off back to Jalowo, sends me something back. And it's kind of one of those, it's a really unique moment when you have this whole perspective and mood on a song or something you created or helped create, and then somebody interprets it so differently that it really just, it's almost like a eureka or revelation where like you didn't even realize your song or this song could sound like that. And that was probably the last thing that was added overall to the project. And sometimes that can be scary because, okay, we have this story and this project going in a certain direction with a certain narrative and the mood and the way the song, the energy shifts from track to track. That could totally change everything, but it didn't.
We continued this story of this guy at a party, and he's how would you say it? He's kind of just like,
it's like love at first sight, right?
Yeah.
It's like you see this person from across the room and you head over heels, love at first sight, but yet it's this stranger, right? The picture I got in my head was when you guys were jamming this was like the glow that happens when you're looking at like a street light through the rain or through the fog. And it's beautiful. It has this glow, this like really warm glow. And so that was my idea. And like, how do I describe that in terms of taking that and the experience of seeing somebody so beautiful, and yet you feel like they're kind of shrouded in mystery, right?
Yeah.
Soul was gonna be the next song that I was gonna release anyways, just as like a single. I don't know if you want to speak to like the straight up inspiration, like when we made Soul, what was the point?
At this time, I wrote these chords, or I was just playing this, and I just got into the anime Bleach like pretty heavily, and Bleach has like a beautiful soundtrack, and the vibe to the actual show itself was beautiful.
Yes. Dude,
and
yeah.
Writing these chords, I was like, as I was writing them, I'm like, oh, this sounds like Bleach. And then I told Willie that, and it was like, Willie was like, it was one of those moments where it's like 3, 2, 1, say it at the same time. It was like I was saying it as he was saying it, like, this sounds like Bleach.
Yeah.
And then we were just like, oh,
Yeah.
well, this is exactly what we have to go for now.
Yeah. So we literally made, like, I think then we were just kind of having fun, and like I was like, I'm gonna make from every sound, that an instrument that we use, to every lyric, like everything, to be, how can we make a song that's literally about Bleach but not corny, right? What was funny is then how that even works into the narrative of a year later. If I could have a $10,000 budget to actually like create a video or create some sort of narrative, like visually, you know, it would be the girl that's seducing the guy to come behind the bleachers, and then just like is like a vampire, or in this case a hollow, and just eats his soul, right?
It was so funny because you think about the whole like verse with Bleach with Soul is like, she lost my soul, took my chest and put a hole through it. Like, that's the whole holification.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
this. If you don't know Bleach, this is gonna be tough to kind of.
Yeah. Why are you even listening to our music if you've never watched Bleach?
This was specifically a song for like a Bleach vibe.
Yeah,
like it
right.
it wasn't supposed to be like you meet this girl and stuff takes like a sour turn. Like, it was totally just for Bleach, and then all of a sudden you put this Bleach analogy over a story of meeting this girl. It's like, oh, this is just the process of like when it goes south.
I think what was cool then is we went right into Okitakunai.
Yeah, which is my favorite off the project.
Okay, why is it your favorite?
Dude, it was like the first like super high energy song off the project.
Yeah.
I mean, Misty had like the beat change where it goes into something, but this one started out super fast, and it was like it was such a different vibe. For my personal music, I love beach rock. Beach rock's like my heart and soul. So when we got to a point in the project where we're like, all right, we have to go somewhere, and we're already down here, we need to get back up to a place where people are vibing again. We're like, oh, let's kick up the tempo. And like, that's when I felt like I had the green pass to go on the drums. I just treated it as kind of a chaotic beach rock song where I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this like super fast guitar riff, and then we'll do something like kind of just that's like, whoa, this is a lot going on, so many layers with like guitar or whatever. But then we're like, oh, let's do like a soft lyric over it.
What was cool then was also then going from Soul being essentially the nightmare part of the night, right? And then Okitakunai being this like sweet, like the sweet voice that's like, wake up, wake. It almost makes me think of the movie Get Out, right?
Oh yeah.
Where it's like you have like your inner being, like, and I don't know if you guys have ever had this experience where like you're so infatuated with someone that even though like they're literally hollow, right? They're literally like
they're trying to kill you,
right? Yeah, like they're not good people to be infatuated with. But yet, like, you can't help it, right? And like, it's just, and it's horrible. And you have that inner voice, that like the angel that's like, hey, wake up, like, don't stay in this nightmare, wake up. And I think the way that we are able to bring that out, where there's this almost manic, almost panicked energy with the instruments, right, and the drums and stuff, and then you have the really sweet, kind of soft voice that is floating over the top of all that.
Yeah.
We definitely wanted to give like an ode to a lot of our inspirations, but also with Okitakunai, and the whole phrase is Kyo wa Okitakunai, which means I don't want to wake up today. And so I know a lot of times in J-pop, right, typically you have a song that most, it's all pretty much all in Japanese, and then there's usually one phrase, kind of like Plastic Love. There's one phrase
Chorus,
that
normal,
is in English,
yeah.
right? So we were like, man, what if we did the same? And I think like the cool part of it was that we actually did it in a way that was cool. So then Jake, then we have one track left.
Man, Suede.
Suede.
The craziest, honestly.
When we got to 4 songs, we went to go have a session, and I think we were jamming for like 3-4 hours. And we just could not like find a vibe. We sat down, we listed out, okay, let's like on paper, write out the entire narrative and then really figure out what exactly do we want about this. Guy shows up to party, right? In our heads, like this cool, like funky beach party, love at first sight scenario, sees this girl, oh my gosh, she's the one. As the night continues, a lot of red flags being raised, but it's like he doesn't really want to pay attention to it. That's kind of like the I don't want to wake up and really, face the music, so to speak. We get to track 5 and we're talking about this. We're thinking through, okay, how does the story go? And I literally wrote Drake anthem.
Yeah.
If anybody doesn't understand what that means, it's like Drake is like the one rapper where you're so cool because you're the loser who didn't get the girl. We need this like vibey 2-step walk away.
2-step was the biggest thing. Once we found that 2-step groove, it was like, oh,
yeah.
This is it. I've written some funk grooves, but that was probably one of the hardest drum grooves that I've actually written. And it's such an interesting rhythm because I'm going from the bell of the ride to the actual ride cymbal, and doing that creates a groove within the bass and snare groove. So it's like 2 grooves kind of just circling around each other.
How do you find the balance in your drums to be like, okay, I can do a ton of fills and they're all gonna sound great, but how do you know when to pull back or when to
That balance, yeah. I think it's a benefit that I'm also playing guitar, especially on these songs. I guess in my mind, I just kind of try to balance the 3. It's like, okay, I'm gonna let myself do more on the drums here, but I'm gonna do less on the guitar. But being able to do all 3 simultaneously is almost easier because then it's like, oh, I can make this balance because I know where that is.
Yeah, I would have never thought of that. I felt like I had to work so hard for the lyrics because there's so many phone it in moments with those types of songs where it's like the perfect beat per minute, it's the perfect drum rhythm, and you could say the most cliche things, you could say things that are even catchy, but honestly aren't really that interesting. A lot of times, the straightforward way to finish a narrative is to write out, okay, here's just what happened and that's the end.
Yeah.
But I think almost what Suede ended up doing was giving closure to why this happened, right? Where Suede wasn't Suede explains, okay, she left with someone else and this really sucks because after all that, and I think the line is, after all that we had seen, she met me just for me to stay and, and essentially for her to go. And it's like, well, what was the point? What was the point of us meeting if I was just supposed to stay here and you're supposed to leave and that was it. And it's like, oh, Suede love. That's why. Well, guys, that's going to do it for us. Thank you guys so much for checking out our commentary. Be sure to share YORU with all your friends, family, add it to your Spotify playlist. Also, be on the lookout for the Okitakunai music video that's coming out on May 20th. That is gonna be that was a super fun time for us to film. Maybe we'll do a little bit of commentary on that as well, but be sure to be on the lookout for that. And also check out, we're gonna be having merch dropping that same week as well. So be sure to check that out, be on the lookout. You can go check it out at mithrilblue.com or just stay linked with us either on YouTube or Instagram, any of those social medias. I'm sure you'll be able to find it. But thank you guys so much and have a very good day.
Did you guys know that a single purchase of merchandise for an artist, whether that's a hat, a sweatshirt, a t-shirt, actually equates to about 5,000 to 7,000 streams in terms of financial support for an artist? So I want to ask you guys, would you go to mithrilblue.com/merch, check out some of the YORU merch? It would be the most impactful way for you guys to be able to support me and Jake in our new project, YORU. Thank you guys so much and take care.